not the industrial meat grinder. What?
With 90s nostalgia in full swing these days, it's sure been nice seeing the Warner siblings given a second lease on life. Season 2 of Hulu's Animaniacs reboot is every bit as goofy and entertaining as the first, even if this second batch of 13 episodes does very little to shake up the established formula. You know the drill by now. The series revolves mostly around the slapstick antics of Yakko, Wakko, and Dot as they continuously escape the confines of the Warner Brothers water tower and run amok across the pop culture landscape. Nothing about that formula really changes in Season 2, though the writers and animators tend to be more eclectic this time in terms of setting and time period. Case in point, the season premiere features a lengthy segment set in ancient Rome that casts Emperor Nero as a long-winded populist buffoon. Season 2 further cements the fact that Yakko, Wakko, and Dot have lost none of their edge over the past few decades. If anything, they have a bit more bite now than they did back in 1994. The tone may be lighthearted and silly, but the writers have mostly abandoned any pretense of Animaniacs being a show aimed at children. Thankfully, these more adult-oriented moments never feel out of place, and the experienced, talented voice cast certainly helps in that regard. By now, the new series has established a very clear formula. Every episode features one Animaniacs segment, one Pinky and the Brain segment, and one shorter segment to wrap things up. It's hard to say whether this more rigid format is the right approach or not. On one hand, it's tough to describe the new Animaniacs as a variety series when it's really just a pairing of two elements. On the other, none of the ancillary characters and skits from the original series really measured up to the Warner siblings or Pinky and the Brain. It's hard to argue the new series actually suffers because of a lack of Goodfeathers or Buttons and Mindy skits. All the same, there is a distinct lack of variety to the current format, one that becomes more evident the longer this show goes on.
Try to take over the world.
Perhaps what Animaniacs needs isn't more side characters, but a more coherent, serialized storyline. Why not, if the target audience is skewed much older? Occasionally, the scripts will include callback to old jokes, but this is hardly a series that pays much heed to continuity. Maybe that should change in the upcoming Season 3. The second season of Hulu's Animaniacs revival is just as silly and entertaining as the first. Season 2 even makes a few small improvements over the first, with less reliance on stale political humor and more variety in terms of settings. That said, the fairly rigid structure of the series is beginning to weigh things down. If the show isn't going to focus on as wide a cast of characters as its predecessor, then it should at least take more storytelling chances or try to establish a more coherent narrative. For more animated content, check out our reviews of Star Trek Prodigy and My Hero Academia, World Heroes Mission, and for everything else, animated, live action, or otherwise, stick with IGN.